Cryptocurrency arbitrage is one of the most lucrative opportunities of our time. You can make pretty much instant profit, very safe, and it's repeatable, and you can kind of rinse and repeat it. Did you know that Sam Bankman-Fried, which is the owner of FTX Exchange, he is currently worth $24 billion, actually got his start crypto arbitrage trading? The story goes that in January 2008, Sam organized a huge arbitrage moving up to 25 million per day to take advantage of a 10% difference in Bitcoin's price. It was between a Korean and American Bitcoin exchange known as the Kimchi Premium. Essentially, he would actually look in Korean exchanges and see that Bitcoin was trading more expensive there. He would buy Bitcoin in America, send it over to Korea, and get 10%. And he did this with $25 million and rinse and repeat it. It was so lucrative for him. Crypto arbitrage is simple. All you have to do is identify opportunities between different exchanges. In some exchanges, it will be more expensive than others. And then simply buy on the cheaper exchange and sell on the more expensive exchange, and there you go. That is your profit. In this video, I'm going to dive extremely deep into what crypto arbitrage is and try to identify a couple of strategies that you could pull off yourself. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about crypto arbitrage strategies. If you appreciate this content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I talk about cryptocurrency, sometimes entrepreneurship. We try to make money on the internet. This is what we do. So definitely subscribe to the channel. But if you look over here, there's basically a couple ways crypto arbitrage can work. There's not one way. I think the point here is that you understand that all you have to do is identify cheaper coins and then sell it to more expensive exchanges. That simple. And it can be done in multiple ways. You could even sell from different assets to another. Obviously, this is more complicated, but you could technically sell from XRP to Bitcoin and then send that Bitcoin somewhere else and then send it to Ethereum. It just depends on the difference in price, and it depends on how quickly you could do it. But there's all types of different ways of doing this. There's not one way. The point is developing systems to be able to identify it and pull it off is the hard part of doing this. Now, the reason why people call it safer is because simply there's no predicting involved. You can simply see the difference in price and then execute. But the hard part is making sure that you do that execution in a small amount of time, as well as identifying the opportunities before somebody else does, because there's a whole bunch of people that are currently doing it on the market today. And this is how, you see on one exchange, the price is really expensive and then it eventually evens out. It's people doing this that are making the profit or arbitraging. And there's so many different ways you could do it. I'm going to kind of give you the baseline, the basic ways of doing it. But the types of strategies are not, isolated to just centralized exchanges or just one strategy. There's something called cross-exchange arbitrage. It's the basic form where you go from one exchange to another. There's also spatial arbitrage. This is another form of cross-exchange arbitrage. The only difference is that the exchanges are in different regions. For example, you can capitalize like on how he did, Sam Bankman-Fried, by looking at Korean exchanges. And then there's triangular arbitrage, moving funds between more digital assets, 2 or 3 digital assets. They are basically all the same thing. You're just simply trying to identify the differences in prices, all right? So where it really gets different, though, is you have to understand the difference between a centralized exchange and a decentralized exchange. So in cryptocurrency, there's a couple ways that you can trade from one crypto to another, and they're primarily, chalked up to this. As you can see on centralized exchanges, a good example of this is Coinbase or Binance. These are centralized exchanges. Basically, exchange controls the funds, right? You're not anonymous, so you have to do something called KYC or know your customer on centralized exchanges. There's sometimes hacks and downtime. You guys know this. It's easy to use advanced tools, and there's a lot of liquidity on centralized exchanges. But on decentralized exchanges, users control the funds. You're completely anonymous. There's no hacks or downtime because it's all on the blockchain. It's definitely not easy to use. It will probably get easier in the future. Basic features and typically lower liquidity, which the low liquidity actually gives you opportunities to identify more arbitrage trading strategies. I would say that there's probably more arbitrage now on decentralized exchanges, but it's just way harder and the barrier of entry is very high. So again, a good example of centralized exchanges like Coinbase, These are typically public companies, not always public, but they're companies that are registered with like a certain jurisdiction. And they have like a real business model. Now, you'll see decentralized exchanges. They're in some way, shape, or form completely decentralized and autonomous, meaning like a group of people run it. And they're sometimes, it depends on what DEX you look at, they're usually not registered with the state. So basically the benefits of that is that it kind of runs itself, right? And this is a very deep concept. If you want more understanding on how Web3 works, Web2 works, definitely subscribe to the channel. Also, I have an investment group called Fundamental Secrets. The link will be in the pinned comment below. It's $5 for 5 days. You could try that out for yourself. It teaches all these concepts and makes it very easy for you. But the point is, all you have to understand is there's just two different types of exchanges, and one of them is on the blockchain itself. And you must understand all of these things before you start arbitrage trading. Now, if we look at centralized exchange opportunities, you could simply go to coinpix.io. And this is actually my website, but over here you can see that you have options for all of these exchanges, right? And you can see the difference in price. So you see the price here, and there's a difference in price here that's too small. You want to look for monumental gaps, right? So you see on OKEX, it's selling for 38,000 BTC. So this is what you call a big gap. This is a bigger gap. So you can go there and buy one BTC and send it over and make maybe $1,000. Now, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and we'll talk about the risks and how you calculate things towards the end of the video. But here's just one example of how that works. You could also go to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and see basically the same thing. The differences in prices, you have to refresh it. And a lot of times, they're very similar, but you will see big differences, especially when the market really fluctuates and you have high volatility, the price of the assets go up or go down a lot. You'll see the difference in prices, and you can take advantage of those for sure. But they're typically small. Now, also, when you look at other coins, you'll have better opportunities. With Bitcoin, it's just really efficient because it's the most liquid coin on the market. But if you look at other smaller coins, you'll have more opportunity, but there will also be more risk, of course. Now, if we look at decentralized opportunities, you go to CoinGecko, then you can go at the top here, it says decentralized exchanges, and then you could just simply look at the different assets. Now, if you want to know how to actually do it, it's as simple as buying and selling. If you don't know how to buy and sell in crypto, I don't recommend crypto arbitrage trading at all. You have to learn Web3 to a deep level. And this is just the truth. And, I could hype it up and make it seem like you could do it today. But if you've never been in crypto, don't recommend doing this at all unless you learn the foundations of crypto. What is Web3? What is Bitcoin? What is a blockchain? How to send a transaction? How to receive a transaction? What are trading fees? What's a decentralized exchange? All these things, there's no way I can explain it to you in one video. It'd be impossible. But I am showing you where to find the opportunity. So if you come over here to top decentralized exchanges, you could see that there's all types of different, like we can go to Curve. SushiSwap's a good one, I know. So I would open up SushiSwap, and then maybe you can open up Uniswap, which is the biggest decentralized exchange. And then we will look for difference in price. As you can see here, we have ApeCoin and Wrap ETH, and it's about 1323. It's inverse, so you can't really see a price difference. Maybe if we look like Wrap ETH and Tether, it's going for 3,092. And then if we go to Wrapped ETH and Tether, this is going for 3,095. So the difference in price is not that big. You get the point. You can just go back and forth and look and see which assets are different. Now, I don't want to burst your bubble, but this is not, in my personal opinion, the best way. The harder it is to actually do this, I think you'll find more opportunities. So let me show you another way. The decentralized exchanges are the best way. So as you can see here, decentralized arbitrage is simple, most well-known MEV opportunity. Now, MEV means miner extractable value. Very hard concept to explain. You must understand blockchain, but basically, if I put it simply, when miners confirm blocks on Ethereum or Bitcoin, there's these little opportunities and people can actually extract value from the mining system and the transaction system on blockchains, right? And you can put in these very complex transactions to where you don't just make one trade, but you're trading multiple times. Here's an example. It actually shows you an example here of a profitable arbitrage transaction where a searcher turned 1,000 ETH into 1,045 ETH by taking advantage of difference of pricing. So you can clearly see here that this is the actual transaction. And you can see that he traded 1,000 Ether. He swapped it for DAI on Uniswap. Then he took that DAI and swapped it back for Ether on SushiSwap. And then he got a pretty big lump sum there. Here's the actual transaction path here. It's pretty difficult. These things can be automatically programmed into your transaction, so you do have to understand a little bit of developing to get this. I'm not trying to discourage people. I'm just simply telling you the truth. So there's actually a couple of trading softwares that can make this a little bit easier for you. There's this website called CryptoRank.io. If you go over to CryptoRank.io, you can click on any coin. It says arbitrage right here. If you click the arbitrage, it will do basically what I just showed you, but automatically. You can see right here, all the different opportunities. There's 0.18%. These are small percentages, but maybe we could do a control F and look for like 1.0%. Yeah, so we see a 1% difference here. And yeah, cryptology, maybe you can get on there, right? We see definitely a 1% difference to the board on cryptology. So you can see it right there that there is opportunities. You just have to identify them. And I will say that the deeper you go into crypto, the smaller the asset, the harder it becomes. Like if you go on decentralized exchanges, the more opportunities will arise for sure, because less people can do it. Now, when you're jumping into crypto arbitrage opportunities, I highly recommend you make sure you understand the fees involved. Now, when it comes to centralized exchanges, the fees, you can just look up on the website itself. You can see Coinbase has a 1.99% maker/taker fee. You see Binance has 0.1%. You see Binance US has 0.1%. Kraken has 0.16%. Basically, the gist is when you do this transaction, not only do you have to take the percentage difference of the two assets, but you also have to take into consideration fees on the centralized exchange. Now, when you're looking at decentralized exchanges, there's a couple of things that happen. The first one is price impact. Depending on how much money you're transferring, you could actually move the asset as you buy. So you have to understand price impact, right? If we just kind of briefly look at it, price impact is an expression used to describe the correlation between an incoming order and the change in price of the asset involved caused by the trade itself. So most people, if you're not trading with like a 50,000, 100,000 plus, you don't really have to worry about this. But when you do get bigger, you should definitely worry about this. Now, also another thing to take in consideration is slippage. When cryptocurrency traders place a buy or sell order on exchange, they typically expect said order to be filled at the exact price they've chosen. Unfortunately, this is not always the case due to the costly problem called slippage. So it's the same thing. So on decentralized exchanges, it's called price impact. On centralized exchanges, it's called slippage. You must take in consideration these two things as well as the fee to actually execute the trade. And then there's a couple of other things to take in consideration. This is from CoinDesk, the transaction speed of the blockchain. So when you're actually sending cryptocurrency on the blockchain itself, there's a time difference. This is why I said understanding every variable is just so important. And you have to understand for anything, whether it's trading, whether it's crypto arbitrage, whether it's investing in NFTs, you should understand these things in general. So there is a time difference on the blockchain. And there are other blockchains that are quicker. So if you use Polygon or you use the Binance Smart Chain, it's much quicker on those blockchains to send a transaction. But if you're using Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's going to be much slower and much more expensive. There's gas fees, guys. There's so many different fees. And what I recommend you do is try to play out a crypto arbitrage trading strategy for yourself on paper. Write down exactly every fee involved and then see if it's profitable. And it will tell you what's the biggest percentage difference that you could take advantage of. So if you see like maybe a 0.5% difference in the asset, then it's probably not worth it. You want to look for massive gaps so that all of the fees included make this profitable for you. Now, there's also AML checks, anti-money laundering checks, which basically they will halt your funds. So sometimes when you put like a large amount of capital on a certain exchange, there's like a 48-hour period where you have to confirm your identity. If you're putting the funds on exchanges, take that into consideration because it could hold back your trade. Remember, when you're sending crypto arbitrage trading strategies from exchange A to exchange B, there's going to be a time delay, and that time delay is the hardest part. You want to make it as small as possible. You want it to be, and this could hold you back 48 hours if you do it wrong. So take that in consideration. And then you don't have to worry about offline exchange servers. It's not really that big of a risk in today's day and age. But yeah, those are a couple of things you have to take in consideration for sure. Now, personally, I like to invest, right? And this is why I don't do crypto arbitrage too much. The actual learning level is very high. You have to learn a lot. And the best ones, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen, is miner extractable value. The people that are actually programming bots on the blockchain will have the best crypto arbitrage trading, opportunities, because again, it's hard. Now, if you're looking at only centralized exchanges, I know some other videos, are talking about this crypto arbitrage trading strategy on centralized exchanges. Remember, it's not going to be a lot, because if everyone can do it, then the amount of money you make is gonna fall, because everybody's doing the same thing. They're all going to be able to see the opportunity, right? Where it's like, oh, there's a 5% difference in price, and they're going to do it really quick. And a lot of them, like I said, they have bots, guys. They have much more money than you, and they have bots. So I'm not trying to set you up for failure. You can do this. I have done it myself. I have bought the asset in one place and sold on the other and made profit. It's just not really predictable unless you get very deep. Like if you're doing it on the blockchain with miner extractable value bots, as well as if you become a searcher and understand how to search the blockchain very deep, I recommend this. And if you guys want me to make some more videos on how to do this, I can learn it for myself. I do understand it from a blockchain investigation purpose and from an investing purpose, but I have not built a miner extractable value bot. I just understand how it works. Now, what I do recommend as an actual investor, I think it's much easier to just buy some assets. As you can see here, I was getting into Hex. A lot of people talk about this. It went up like 10,000%. Ripple, I was getting into it very early, 2 years ago. There's all types of opportunities. Chainlink, I got 100x on Chainlink. In my personal opinion, it's much easier to make money as an investor. Ethereum, this is 2 years ago. Litecoin, this is 2 years ago, guys. So as long as you spend time in the market in general, I think you'll have a good time. Crypto arbitrage strategies might be a bigger barrier of entry. So I recommend maybe investing, trading, doing things like this, and then opening yourself up to that world might be the answer. I don't think someone first starting should jump into crypto arbitrage trading just yet, because there's just so much to learn. So if you want to learn about crypto, again, like I said in the pinned comment below, it's $5 for 5 days. Complete everything, coaching, coin calls. I show you my investments. I show you my trades, and you can take advantage of it. If not, there's so much free information on YouTube that you'll have no problem as long as you stay in cryptocurrency. Remember, it's not about timing the market, it's time in the market. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism, subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. Catch you in the next one.